and hate of this book. So good. I love reading. And I am Jen from the Reading Girls. I am going to talk about my 26 books I read in Q1 of 2026, if they're good or not, what I liked about them, and all that jazz. Yeah, I just want to talk about the 26 books I read in this quarter. But let's look at some stats. So out of the 26 books, I was looking at the most popular genre I was reading, and this is the little graph that I'm gonna put right here. So it looks like I've been reading a lot of why choose romantasy / romance, because I read 6 out of my 20 books I read were a why choose situation. The next one was contemporary romance, which I read 5 out of my 26. Then, of course, there were romantasies and YA fantasies. I think my favorite was a classic because I read Wuthering Heights in this quarter, and that was an adventure itself. I'm going to put on the publication years versus how many I read. And I read 12 books that was already released in 2026. And so out of the 26 books I read 12 of them have came out in 2026. Which is crazy. And then of course 6 of them were 2025, and then 3 of them were 2021. My favorite little stat is the 1847, which was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, which I don't know. I'm just so proud of myself for reading that in this quarter. And out of these 26, let's look at the star rating. It doesn't surprise me at all that I rated 10 books 4 stars out of the 26. I try to read books that I'm interested in, books that I want to read. So the more I gravitate to those kind of books, the higher ratings I averagely will give them a higher rating. It makes sense, correct? I did have 1 2-star read, and that I will talk about that one. Most of my reads were 4s, 4.25s, 4.5s, and 2 5s. Legitimate 5-star reads. A little short break of just showing Mount Baker. My brother just sent me that Snapchat, and I just want to show you all. Let's dive in to the 26 books I read in Q1 2026, and let's talk about them. And then I'm gonna go to my worst to my favorite book. And yes, they might be a little bit overlaying. I determine them depending on how it made me feel, how the story was. Am I excited to continue it? Or am I gonna hype it up? That's how I rank them. Because there was 10 4-star reads, so that was hard to put it in order. For number 26, I read Time Will Tell, which is a little romance novella that Amazon Kindle series, and I gave it 2 stars. This was my first time reading Hannah's book. I did like her writing. I really want to read Out on the Limb by her because I just hear it's a really good romance. But I was just really disappointed in this romance of this little novella. Hated it. I hated the romance. Not stand it. Liked the writing. Liked the concept. Hated the romance. And I would talk about more, but I truly, at this point, I kind of forgot what it's about, other than I hated the romance so much. For number 25, I read 7 Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton. I gave this 3 stars, so it wasn't bad, but I'm not gonna reread it. My tip about this book, it's supposed to be enemies to lovers, but everything that needs to be done needs to be under 7 days. The romance was so fast paced for true enemies to lovers. It is a standalone, and I think there is other books that are going to be released, a part of a series, but interconnected standalones. I'm not saying this book was bad, but if you think of any YA romance tropes, it's in here. One bed. I want to give you more tropes, but yeah, it was a 3-star read. I was impressed by the writing. the betrayals were actually really good. So like, I don't know, I kind of like the story behind it. I feel like this book needed to be a duology. Like, it needed to be more expanded, and that's why it's a 3-star, because if this was a duology, I think it would have been a 5-star masterpiece, because it just needed a little bit more explanation, a little bit more depth in this plot. And again, the romance was so fast-paced, like, insta love. But trust me, I love this picture, and I'm never gonna get rid of this, because this is like so Draco and Hermione coded, and I'm a big Hermione fan. So yeah, number 24 was The Legacy by L. Kennedy. This is the like an add-on book that follows the couples for 5-ish years later. Each story was interesting, and I like there was a thing, I won't spoiler it, but I like there was a object that was connected to all the stories, and that was really one of the best highlights storyline. But I will say that my favorite was definitely the Garrett and Hannah story of it, and my least favorite was Tucker and Sabrina. But it's crazy because I'm going to add this to it. This is my current ranking of my favorite books out of that, and I liked Tucker and Sabrina's story a lot more than Dean and Allie's story, because it felt like there was more strength in that. But again, Garrett and Hannah is my top dog. So, I don't know. This was just a cute little add-on, and honestly, I could read another 4-book series with this character, so I don't know. I am definitely going to be watching the Off-Campus series on Prime. So book number 23 was a little novella from the same little Amazon series, and it's called The Second Chance Romance. And I really like the concept. I like this. I want that to be a whole like book at this point, but of course it wasn't perfect. But I'm a fan of celebrity romance books, so I give it a 3.5. I want more of it, but it wasn't perfect. So, and I actually love the theater part, and I know a lot of people didn't like the theater part of this book, but I did. I would love to read more about Jill Soto, and I have this book, and I just said that I'm a big Germania fan, and I still haven't read this, so I just want to add that to this little bit. So reading this that novella just made me love her work, and I'm super excited to go into that series. And I have that other book by her. I just want to read more of her, and these little novellas always makes me want to read more or less of an author. So the number 22 spot is called Between the Lines by Tracy McGruber. I got a privilege of reading this as an ARC, and I do have a more in-depth video of that, in my ARC videos I'm trying to do. This book, I really did like it. I also would say that I struggled knowing the true feelings of the main characters, because it is in third person and it's in dual POV, so it was very like hard to understand the true feelings. I understood the romance, but it wasn't like, I don't know. And this book didn't make me cry because the author herself wrote an ex so well and so toxic that I was just crying at the end, because that ex would be a real person. It felt very realistic at times, and I was like, Tracy, who hurt you? Because like, but I did like the book. I'm a big fan of the literary like romance. I like when authors and writers fall in love, and that, yeah, so I'm a big fan of that. I did give this a 3.5. I enjoyed it very much. Number 21 was Dating at the End of the World by Geneva Rose. This is my first time reading Geneva Rose, and let me say that I really liked the plot and the concept of the story. I love zombies. It gave me the Walking Dead feels so hard. But the thing about this book that I hate, I'm gonna be really honest, I did not like the romance. Like, I can do insta love, but when they're enemies to lovers, I don't know why. I was vibing a lot with the romance in the beginning, but I heard there might be a second book, and I'm definitely gonna try to read it because, again, I really like the world, and I like the side characters. The side characters were really good. So I have my love and hate of this book, but overall I had a good time, so I can't get mad at this. It's the weirdest like reaction I have about a book because like I love most of this book except for the romance part, and I think it's supposed to be a romance part. Anyway, I give this a 3.5 because the overall of this book was impressive. I had a good time. It's definitely a good time book. I'm so sorry. Like this book, it gives me a lot of feels. I want to read more of Geneva Rose. I'm gonna say I want to read more of Geneva Rose because I was impressed by her work, but I think I was expecting more like organic romance from this, and I'm just mad about the romance part. Like, I think I love zombies too, so. 20 is The Shatter Stars. I gave it a 3.5. And this is number 3, Arrow Heart Academy, which is a reverse harem, dark academy setting. She is going to have fated mates, and I can't really talk about this one until I get to the first book in my list. So I'll just pause on that, but I just want to say that the third book is my least favorite so far. I give it a 3.5. There's sometimes with the reverse harem, you get really irritated by the female lead and she makes really, really bad choices, or the author doesn't explain why she's making these decisions. Anyway, so 3 is my least, but I am gonna add that I am currently reading the 4th book right now, and I'm loving it. So the 3rd book, yeah, it's a 3.5. This series is definitely a vibe read. I'm enjoying it. It's a good time read. Number 19 is A Perfect Hero by Samantha James. I picked this up for my sister. It literally says, can a perfect scoundrel be a perfect hero? Okay, so this is like a Spencer falls in love with her captee. It has a lot of dark romance in the beginning, and there's a lot of, okay, I'm gonna be honest, like the first part of this book, 5-star. The rest was like 3-star, but the romance in here is legit, like 5 out of 5. I cannot stop about this romance. It made me swoon, it made me giggle. The plot was like iffy, especially for historical romance. I'm gonna say that, but honestly, when she gets kidnapped and oh my gosh, there's a scene in here that I was so surprised to see a female lead do it. She defends herself, and she's so smart. She acts like she isn't, but she's so smart. Like, I love this female lead. I'm so gushing about this. This is like one of my favorite couples. I picked this up to give it to my sister because, you know, it was giving me a lot of One Dog Window vibes. And again, she falls in love with her captor. It is historical romance. Okay, you guys, I am swooning over this book. But I had to give it a 3.5 because I couldn't understand the plot that much. The romance was hitting, but I was like, I don't know about you, but look at that. Look how cute this book is. Oh my god, I am so glad I picked this up. I was impressed by the romance. This was like legit. Something about historical romance can just make you giggle. I want more people to read this if you like historical romance. Technically, this is book number 3 in the series, and I just picked this up randomly. I don't care. I'm probably be talking about this romance all year long. Anyway, read this. Read it. We did our 3.5s, and now we're hitting our 4-star reads. Number 18 and 17 I'm going to put here, which is book 1 and 2 of Arrow Heart Academy series. And I gave them both 4 stars because I was really impressed with the story. I liked the female lead at the time. I picked this up because I needed a good reverse harem. Plus, the female lead has a pet pig. I don't know if I said that earlier, but pet pig. And she has been I don't really understand like the government and the magic in this, but it sounds like they're witches. So they're witches, and she has to go to an academy to be trained because she's 20 years old. She's 20, by the way. So this academy is like college age kids. She has to go to the academy to study her magic because she was unregistered individual for her whole life, and something's special about her. Why did her aunt hide her all these years? And also her pig is really cute. One thing I love about the series is the friendship between the female lead and her best friend. One of the strongest female, like, ride and die type of friendship, and I love that. I love that for her so much. Often, like, my level between likability of the men that come in her life is interesting. Also, this is technically a bully romance too, so I would say, like, if you liked Bliss Vows and Bonded by Ties, then you probably will like this. But this series, I'm actually reading it because I'm enjoying it. Even if it doesn't make all the sense in the world, it's definitely a really interesting read so far, and I'm enjoying it. So if you like reverse harems, bully romance, bonded fates, multiple guys, what else? And a pet pig. Again, this is literally how I got into this series, because she has a pet pig and the same size of a dog, like a little dog. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, and the riches. So if you like all that, pick this up, try it. I'm reading it on KU right now, so yeah, I'm on book 4. I think I'm like 70% done, and it's definitely getting better. The world is getting better, and I'm not mad at the female lead right now. So sometimes I get mad. I get mad at the female leads in the why choose situations a lot, but I'm not mad at her. So number 16, I read Accidentally Yours on the KU Amazon Originals. It's a little novella by Christina and Lauren, and I loved it. I loved it so much, and I wish it was a long ass series. I wish this was like a whole book, because even though it's under 100 pages or something, those writers just made me fall in love with the characters so well. And I feel like that's a really good writing trait for a writer. If you can make a short story or a novella under 100 pages and still have the readers fall in love with these characters, I think you're doing such a wonderful job. And I want a whole book. I want a whole book by them. Also, I really like that they communicated with like emails and letters, and it was like secret identity. I don't know, it was so cute. I want more. I want more. Number 15 was Life's Too Short by Abby Hermezes. I give this a 4 star. I really liked it, and I liked the romance, and I liked how ALS is represented. I also, again, I'm a big sucker of celebrity romance, and the female lead is a flogger. I don't know, Abby just makes like real situations interesting in a romance book, and except I did not truly love how it ends and how it wrapped up. Felt like it was a quick ending in a way, like how it played out, but I love that they ended up together. So, and on the side note, I'm trying to read We Met by Abby right now, and I am finding Easter eggs. I'm only like 40 pages in that current book, and I'm finding Easter eggs from this series and her other series, which is Part of Your World. I'm just giggling because Abby just loves to like make Easter eggs in her world. I'm gonna be honest, she's one of my favorite authors. Number 14 was Brighter Than Before by Courtney Welsh. Give this again 4 stars. I loved it. It was very more women fiction. I wanted more. Like, again, this is a book that I would love to read like 600 pages of this one character, because I was just rooting for her, and I felt short because I just wanted her. Her name was Claire, and I just wanted her to be amazing. I'm so a person who would just root for all the characters, especially ones who've been divorced by a man who treated her less than, and married or is getting married to a younger model, and her mother-in-law was a piece of, yeah, I just want Claire to find happiness in Chicago. I highly recommend it if you want a story about resilience, finding one's identity, and I honestly think she finds a great community where she goes in Chicago. Plus, in her story, she's like, I'm gonna go on dates. She's like trying to go on dates, and I absolutely loved when she went on bad dates. It was hilarious. It was entertaining and it felt realistic at times. So, and I'm rooting for Claire. I know she's fictional, but I'm always rooting for Claire at this point. This book comes out June 9th. I think more people will like this book. I enjoyed it. I was really, really impressed by it. Number 13 was The Thorn Season. Again, this is a fairy loot YA fantasy. I enjoyed it a lot. This is how I describe it. It's like Powerless, but reverse. So you have this noble lady who has powers, who has to hide them. And then she is thrown into the court system as she's 18, so she has to go through the court system, try to hide her powers in front of the king and all the subjects. You have a lot of like backstory. This was a wild ride and I enjoyed every minute of it. But honestly, I went into blind-ish. I knew it was like a love triangle too. But at the end, I'm just amazed by the ending. I was really impressed. And it gets dark too. Like some stuff. I think the first couple, I want to say the first 100 pages, I was vibing, but as soon as you hit that 100-page mark, it like went flying in the plot and like adventure and revenge. So I was vibing this character. I really like the female lead and the world is really interesting. Looking back, I struggled how her magic is. I'm like, is it like, can they see it? Can they see her magic? Or is it just like a feeling? Like I need to know like how her magic is represented, and that's the only thing I really struggled with, was like I couldn't picture her magic. Gives me a little bit of Powerless, Rose Boggan vibes. That's the two books I would put this with it. I don't know, I was really intrigued by this book. I'm excited for book 2. How about that? I'm excited for book 2. And I don't think you'll be disappointed about this book. I just love this copy so much. Number 12 is Under the Oak Tree, Volume 2. Love this character. Maxie, I struggled with English myself, and knowing that Maxie has a stutter and she's trying to overcome it as being the lady of the house is really intriguing. Plus, you have her, she's learning a lot in this book, and I want to talk about this book, but if you haven't read the first book, you are following Maxie. She has been arranged marriage to a knight, Riffon, and they got together really early on, and then Riffon went away for 3 years to fight dragons and monsters for the continent/country, and Maxie is a high lady, noble lady who is born from a wealthy father, but she's treated like Cinderella. She is treated even worse than Cinderella at times. So when Riffin comes back, he takes her and it's like, you're gonna be the lady of the house. Again, Riffin is a very prominent knight. He is very wanted, and he takes Maxie to his castle, literally at the end of the sea, like basically a cape. And she is going to find herself. She's going to experience the world and learn more, because she was very sheltered and very abused as a child. So this series is very like trust the arc, trust characters, because this series was a webtoon from Korea and it was very popular and translated into English, and I read it like that. But if you don't want that, you can read their graphic novels. So this is volume 1. So yeah, it's the week, so it's like, but like you're getting graphic novels and stuff. So this graphic novel of the series, this is volume 2 of the graphic novel, and this is the book that has it. This book contains chapters from 77 to 133 of the original web novel. And these are the graphic novels / web comics. So heavy, y'all. And this is book number 2. This is like a god tier cozy fantasy for me and my sister, and I'm gonna be honest, I got an ARC for volume 3 and I'm planning on reading it in April, so I'm so excited. I love Maxie. I love her character, and I'm trusting the process. I know it's spicy. I know people didn't like the beginning of it. Honestly, like, this is like historical fantasy with monsters and stuff, and I need more people to read this. This is definitely trust the process if you like a character arc story. Read this book. But I did give this 4 stars just because there was some stuff that I didn't agree with. But the other book was book number 1 was definitely a 4.5. 4. And we have the comics. So very a god tier series for me and my sister. Yes, this is definitely trust the process, trust the arcs. Maxie gets stronger every day, and I love her. I love her as a character. Read this book. Read. Number 11 was Romantic Hero by Christy Greenwood. I gave this again 4 stars. I loved it. I loved the ending of it. So in the beginning, it was I really struggled to get into the characters and the storyline. Mostly the female lead. I didn't like her in the beginning. By the end, I just loved the story. The romance was very insta, I'm gonna say, because, you know, there is a timeline, and I didn't really understand a lot of the like magic realism. Had a fun time reading it. It was so entertaining. The situations were very chaotic and fun to read. I would suggest you guys to pick it up if you like Christy's work. This was definitely like, what would happen if a cowboy ended up on your couch and you're going through a heartbreak and you have a writer's block? I am a big fan of authors falling in love by working through like, you know, I just like authors falling in love. I just like people falling in love. How about that? But anyway, I really enjoyed this book, and I think more people need to read it. So pick up your copy on June 16th because I think a lot of people would be more impressed by this book. I want to talk about the ending, but I don't want to spoil any of this book. So it's one of the things. And it's a good ending. It's a good ending, okay? Number 10 was Bonds of Hercules. So this is book 2, this is book 1, and I will say that book 1 I gave a 3.5, but book 2 I gave 4 because I really liked how the character was driven, how the story was written, and what was focused on in book 2. And I was just more impressed in book 2 than in book 1. I really like the sassy, unhinged female lead. This girl, she's amazing. I really like Alexis. She was an entertaining read, and I really liked her. I liked her more in book 2, and the twists and turns in that book was good, and I liked how her men fell in love with her as well. Like, I want to talk about this, but it's so squirrely because it's book 2, right? It's book 2. But, okay, so in this series, you are following Alexis, and this is a Why Choose series. Alexis has been orphaned. She does this test in her high school, and she finds out that she is a god or gladiator, a Spartan, or something. Not gonna look this up right now. And she gets transported into the gods of Zeus and stuff, and she has to compete in trials, and she goes to the academy, and she's just unhinged. She has like a snake too. She has a snake pet that's invisible to everyone except for her. I love her, the snake. She has the like the dialogues are so funny, and Alexis' inner thoughts are so funny too. This is definitely like you have to read it. Like, she's so sarcastic and morbidly 2. Like, this is a dark romance as well. Yeah, so I did really enjoy book 2 more than book 1. I really like this world, which is impressive. And I did read Psycho Shifters. I read the first book and second book. But I DNF'd after the third book because I just couldn't love the characters anymore. So that was entertaining. That was an interesting. Didn't like after the third book of the Psycho Shifters by this author. But I love this 2 series, so that's just me. Number 9 is Project Hail Mary at 4 stars as well. I really like this series. I'm a big fan of crazy commentary characters, sassy, like funny characters and quirky characters. I love that when I'm reading books. So Grace was a very good read for me. But the thing about this book, I pushed myself getting this done because I had to go see the movie like 2 days before I finished this, and I feel like I didn't maybe get all of it in. But again, the science was really heavy in this book as well, which I appreciated, but as a science girly, I tried to figure this out and I was not trying to figure this out. So I kind of like, I don't know, it's definitely a good read. This is a book that people need to read just for like the experience. This made me love sci-fi too. Like, I was very impressed. Now I want to read The Martian by this author because I was really impressed by this book. And again, I'm very impressed by the movie as well. So in number 8th place, this might be a little controversial, but I gave Jaggermouth a 4.25 star. Yeah, so I did enjoy this book. It's very dystopian. I love the plot. The plot is 5 out of 5. Like, if you like plot-driven or plot in books, read this. This is supposed to be enemies to lovers, but the thing about it is it was very fast-paced, again, for enemies to lovers, but they are true enemies to lovers because they're trying to off each other a lot in the beginning. So entertaining. The ending had my jaw on the ground because I was so impressed by the ending. I had to reread the last chapter because I was like, wait, is this how it ends? So it's hyped for a reason. Again, very, very impressed by this book. Yes, I am going to be running to the bookstore for book number 2. So plus there was side characters that I loved. So I loved the side characters in here. This was very impressive in world building as well. Book number 7 was Wuthering Heights. I gave it a 4.25. I'm very impressed by, I read it before the movie, and I still haven't seen the movie, so that was chaotic me. So with Wuthering Heights, I didn't realize how dark it can get and like abusive as well. Like, this is definitely a book about revenge, obsession, and family ties and family drama. And this is a generational take too. My hot take is that I hate that they just renamed children as their parents. And I was very confused sometimes, but luckily nicknames does exist. I think this book is very toxic in relationships and people need therapy. But again, this was written in 1847 by Emily Bronte, and this was ahead of the time. No wonder it's considered modern dark romance, because the obsession and revenge, chef's kiss. Grateful to myself that I read this book, and I hope more readers read this modern classic. Take your time, read the cliff notes if you need to. No wonder in English class it gets reviewed, because you can literally see, it is through the eyes of the maid, and you can see how she talks about each character throughout the journey, because you can tell that she likes one character more than the others just by the terminology that she's using. And it was just so impressive. I'm impressed that I read this book, and I think more people need to read it. I'm loving that I love that book, and I've been talking about this book all the time at work. So now we're getting to our 4.5s and 5-star reads of the quarter. So number 6, I read Hidden Within the Secret Heart by Tessa Cole, and this is a 4.5 read for me. I love a good why choose like romantasy, and this is such a good why choose romantasies. This book, I really like how the character, it's slow for the story, but I think it's just building up the story, and I hope this is like at least 5 to 6 books long, because where the story is, if the author wraps it up in the next book, I'm gonna be disappointed, because I'm like, you had all this build up, it needs at least be 2 more books, and I know book 5 comes out in like February or something, so I'm really excited. I can't pre-order it since it is an indie copy right now. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan of this series. I read book 1 and 2 within 48 hours when I first found it. The story is, you're following Sage, and she is 18 years old, and she's from a middle-class noble family, and her mom died and remarried a evil stepdad, and she has a younger brother who's 15, and in this world there's a lotto that can happen, and her brother gets in the lotto, but it was illegal because you have to be 16 to do it. So anyway, the point is that she takes her brother's place, so her brother has a chance of escaping and becoming the lord of the house if he is like at the age requirement in the human world. So she takes his place in this like military academy setting. It reminds me of the Wall in Game of Thrones. So you know, like Jon Snow, he volunteered for the Stark family, so she takes her brother's place, and she has to pretend to be a man. So it's very like Mulan coded, and her instructors, her like commander people are Fae men. There are fated mates in the Fae world, and you get to know multiple Fae men, and I like the men. A lot of the spicy scenes in, I can't really talk about what's going on in this world because it's not explained in the first 50 pages, and it was a surprise even for me, because I thought it was going to one direction, but as soon as that surprise happened, I'm in love with this series. I love Sage. Shit goes down in this world because there's a lot of like warnings, like SA could happen, physical torture. There's a lot of bullying going on because you have these human males, and then you have these cliques, you have high tension, you have there's shadow creatures that attack this like castle where these soldiers are living, and you have Fae and humans working together to defend the kingdom, and she has to be hidden the whole time. It's just really interesting because I feel bad for Sage so much. At times she's like, dude, I hope she gets like 3 days off. Like she needs 3 days off just to like cool up in her bed and just like sleep all day. Like Sage needs that. But I love her character arc so far, and it's a very interesting read. I know that not a lot of people liked book 4 because they said it is slower, but I think it's just building up to the world. Some political things are going on in this world. So fun time read. It's one of my top why choose romantasies. It is a why choose. It is on the darker side too, just because of what's the content in it. All these books are at least 4.5 to 5 stars for me, and I just, again, this came out in March and I read it in like a day or two when it came out. So love, 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 love this series. Another book I love and love the series is A Pact for Spring. I gave this a 4.5 star, and you are following Lucy and her 3 men. Lucy is feeling depressed. She is feeling very single. She's a Omega, and through her like adventures and her like, it's her adventure of forming a pact. And this is an interconnected why choose cozy verse Omega verse series, and I love it. This book comes out April 14th, and I already read this as an arc. I gave this like amazing. My only ick I always say about this book is that I'm not a big fan of the trope of the female calling the male lead daddy, and there is a character calls one of her males daddy in fun time activities, so that almost DNF'd my experience, but I kept going because I did like the other two males. It is an MMFM romance at the end. It's so cozy and I love this universe. And I just love this universe because it's just so fun. Here's the other two books. Here's Autumn and Winter. I started with Winter and then I read Autumn. And Autumn is the same author as A Pack of Spring, Amelia Emerson. And this is just a cute, interconnected Omega-verse. Why choose? Winter is so far still my favorite. Then it goes Spring and then it goes Autumn just because the men and how the situation happens. There is going to be a fourth book, A Pack for Summer, and I just got an arc for it, so I'm hopefully going to read that in April and give you my thoughts about it. But I love this series so much, and I think I just want to reread these. These are just original Why Choose romances, and I enjoy myself a lot while reading these books. As you can tell, I like my cozy, this is cozy and just is so fun time read. And then you have these dark, slow burn, dark Why Choose series. You have the different spectrums of Why Choose right here. Right here, like, I like my good Why Choose books. 4 is Mad Mabel by Sally Hepburn. This is my favorite Sally's books I read so far. I truly love a good, grumpy, but lovable characters. I love justice, and I love a good story. And when I was reading Mad Mabel, it just flowed really well. I couldn't give it a true 5 stars because I didn't truly love the ending, but I love the ending at the same time. Like, oh, so good. I'm not a big domestic thriller girly, but I enjoyed Mad Mabel a lot. I know this comes out April 21st of this year. One thing about Mad Mabel is that, like, inner monologue, the whole time I'm talking about, I like a good inner monologue. If I can enjoy reading and putting a voice into a character, I enjoy that book so much more. And I just love thinking of this 81-year-old Australian woman who has been convicted of a homicide when she was 15, and now her neighbor has been suspiciously died, and now her other neighbors are looking at her like side-eyeing. So you get that timeline and what happened when she was 15 years old and what history. So it's like a dual storyline, which is, it's so creative sometimes when the past and the present much. I again just felt so privileged reading this book, and I know that it's one of the top books for book of the month. A lot of people read this book because it's such an entertaining read. Top three. This was kind of hard but easy to figure out. My number 3rd place has to be Shadow Reaper by Lynette Nodi. I gave this a 4.5. I did struggle reading this book in the beginning, maybe because it was just kicking off, but with Lynette Nodi's, when the stuff is happening, it just takes off. And oh gosh, it's just so good. The twists and turns. Lynette Nodi is a queen. Again, I feel privileged reading this book because I know stuff that other readers don't know. And this is a book that I don't want to talk about that much because I want more people to read it, you know? I need people to read this, but I don't want to talk about it because I need to hype it up. My sister also read this book, luckily, and so we were talking about it. And we're like, just to talk to someone made me love this book more because she had more insight on this book. She saw stuff that I didn't see at first. And that's amazing when you actually have a conversation with another person who read a book, and you can go detailed, like chapter 1 to chapter 30, and talk about certain things. But here, I'm trying not to talk about the ending, even though it was amazing, because I want to hype this up. I want to hype this book up, but I can't spoil anything. So it's just like, it's one of those books that I just want to talk and rant about without spoiling. But anyway, the tea about this book is that you have a huntress, and she is going to hunt reapers, and reapers siphon magic from people, and people often pass away doing the siphoning, and the reapers often target children. So these are under 14-year-old kids that are getting siphoned by reapers, and reapers, they live for a long time. So it's like Lynette's version of a vampire. The female lead, who's 17, and she is a huntress. She's a top huntress. And one day, the right-hand man of the Reaper priest is captured, and that just starts the journey. The journey is so cray. This book comes out June 2nd this year, and if you like a dark YA fantasy, I think you should pick this up. Lynette can't go wrong at this point. I love Prison Healer. I still need to read the next 2 books in Prison Healer, but there's a reason why she's popular, or she is getting more popular. She deserves to be more popular, okay? How about that? Number 2 is The Shippers by Catherine Center. I give this 5 stars. This is my second 5-star read. The reason why I give this a 5-star, I love a quirky character. I love, you know, the inner monologue. The character is so funny. The romance, the banter in this book was impressive. When I read this book, and then when I was reading this book, I wanted to go back into this book because I love this romance. I love the hijinks, the banter, the silly mistakes. And honestly, this childhood best friends to lovers trope was amazing. The banter, I can't with the banter. Like, it was so good. That's why it was 5-star. Like, even though it had 0 spice, no spice at all. It's something about friends to lovers that can really hit that soul when you're reading a good romance book. So I can see this book being a top favorite for people who read it, and especially if you like the friends to lovers trope, because this is like top tier. This is probably my favorite friends to lovers trope so far. I think it is. I think it is my favorite. Like, I was like, what else did I read? No, I think it's my favorite friends to lovers trope so far in my reading career. And yeah, I do like Hermione and Ron. Sorry. I do love a good Hermione and Ron from Harry Potter. Can't deny that friends to lovers trope. Number 1, top at the top, 5-star read, The Lies That Summon the Night by Tatiana Odette. I cannot stop talking about this book. This is so good. So this is a true romantasy, I would say, and also it's dark. This book already came out, and you can pick up your copy now, and I truly, like, I cannot stop. This is a true 5-star read. By the end of the book, my jaw was on the ground. I was so impressed by her writing. This is under 300 pages, and this is a 5-star read. I love when a author can make a good story in under so many pages. So impressive. Like, you are following a storyteller who has to hide her ability to tell stories because art is forbidden in the society of vampires. They're basically vampires. So they're basically vampires, and so vampires rule the world, and the humans are their little blood buckets. But the thing about art, they attract shades, and shades kill humans. They attack humans, and so you have the female lead who's hiding in a brothel for art, and she's a storyteller, and her contract gets bought by a Shadow Bane, which is half monster, half human, and that just kind of starts their story. So good. honestly, I wasn't there for the romance. I was there for the plot. This is definitely for the plot. As you can tell, I love a good romance. I read a lot of romance, fantasy type of books, and those were my 26 books I've read in quarter one. And I hope that this video helps you. Just want everyone to be reading what I read or didn't read. But you know what I really like to read. I love reading. I just love reading, and I hope you guys love reading too. I'm going to end this video on showing you my updated board. If you guys don't know that me and my sister were doing a pyramid board challenge, and each level is a different point system, but I'm just going to show you a little sneak peek. I believe I'm at 90 points currently. I don't care. Like, I know I'm not completing the books I said I was completing on my period right now because I became an ARC reader this year and I am on a side quest on that, but I enjoyed every book I've been reading except for that one book, the 2-star book. I just love reading so much, and the next time I do this video, next quarter, I hope I can have half my pyramid board completed. And yeah, did you guys notice that I need to read Thorn of Glass and Crescent City by October, and I haven't even started, and it's middle of April now? So I'm on a journey. I hope this video helps you choose your next read.